I have a satanic tattoo on me right now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So why are you here?
At this festival? Or
yeah.
For a good time.
You're gonna come to a Christian festival for a good time.
This is a Christian festival?
You didn't know that?
No.
Somebody just...
This is our first interview. So let me give you some context to today's video. I've been working on a project, and in doing the research for this project, I came up with this idea of interviewing random people about Christianity. And they're just basic questions. And what today's video is my first attempt to try to go out and talk to people. And it was so much fun, you guys. The heat this day was absolutely unbearable. But by the time we got filming, everything just came together. I did numerous interviews. However, there was one that stuck out all on its own, and it was the very first one that we did. These men were so kind to stop and talk with me for as long as they did, and I was blown away by how the conversation went. We had a great time filming this, and to Andy and Leek, the two men in this video, I want to thank you guys so much, if you happen to see this, for stopping by and talking with me. I am going to leave more commentary after the video, so stick around for that, and keep in mind, there were more interviews after this. It's just in editing, I realized this needs to be its own video. Everyone was so kind and so sweet to talk with me, and it was really great to get out and be able to talk with people on this level. So I do plan on releasing the other interviews as time goes on, but for now, here is our very first interview. Is it recording? Yep. Hey guys, so we're out here at a faith-based event. I'm out here doing something I've never done before, and I really hope I don't mess it up. I'm gonna try to get interviews from people, Christians from everywhere, and ask them some really, really basic faith-based questions and see what they answer. There's a lot of Christians here, there's a lot of people here, and I'm anticipating people that are not Christians. And those are the ones that I want to try to find. Oh, guys, also, this is my camera guy, Lino.
Yes.
Yeah? Pastor Lino, stereotypical pastors? Yeah, you did good, by the way. He's here, and he's helping me, so thank you. You don't have to lean down. Should we back up?
Yeah, we should back up.
We know what we're doing. We're professionals. So here's our first interaction with Andy and Leek. Lino actually was the one who called them over to see if they wanted to be interviewed, and they very kindly agreed. I thought it was really interesting because I was specifically looking for people that were not Christian, and this just happens to be the first people that Lino calls over. Are you Christians?
I am.
Partly.
Partly. Okay, so let's start with you. You said you're a Christian, but what? I'm sorry, I missed that.
I said partly.
Partly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what does that mean?
So when I was growing up, I had like a bunch of different faiths tossed in my face. You know, like my family, they were mainly like Christians, but also like my environment was mostly like a bunch of Muslims.
Your outfit is appropriate.
People think I'm Muslim when I wear this. Yeah, so I got around a lot around Muslims and stuff. And they taught me a lot, and it made a lot of sense. But also, like, my family is Christian, so I would go to church a lot and stuff. So, like, it kind of confused me growing up, but I feel like I have a solid grasp on what be going on now. Okay, and are you around the same?
I'm partly religious.
What does that mean?
It means believing in something that, like, has no, to me, like, something that you just have to believe in. Like,
it's like spiritual but not religious?
I would say I'm more religious, because when it comes to spirits and ghosts and all of that, like, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay, so what do you mean by religious then?
Okay, so first off, I went to Catholic school my whole life because my family's Roman Catholics. Right. I have a satanic tattoo on me right now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so why are you here then? What?
Right?
This is our first interview.
I was following Levian Satanism.
Okay.
Because I like the fact that it's more of a philosophy than an actual religion where we believe in anything. Everything y'all say, like, religious-wise, like for Roman Catholics, is like Satan is just ultimate evil, bad, whatever. Okay. But Levian Satanism takes that ideology that like Satan is an actual being, and it's more like turns into philosophy. Like everything that you say is bad doesn't really matter because everyone could just live their life how they want.
So why are you here?
At this festival? Or?
Yeah.
For a good time.
You're gonna come to a Christian festival for a good time.
This is a Christian festival?
You didn't know that?
No.
Somebody
I was
just
looking like events Albuquerque on Google, and I was like, I know a lot of girls be out here.
Okay, well maybe God brought you here for a reason.
to do this interview.
Maybe, I'm just saying.
So tell me a little bit about your religion and what you believe. I'm curious now, you know.
And do you know what an apologist is?
Apologist?
An apologist. Do you know what
Like somebody that apologize for everything that be going on?
We get that a lot. It emphasizes 1 Peter 3, where it's talking about knowing what you believe and why you believe it, so you can defend what you believe.
Got you. So it's not just saying like, oh, I believe in this because this is and that. Like you gotta have a reason for it.
Exactly, an evidential reason for why you believe what you do. And I used to be in the New Age. Really, it's New Thought, but nobody knows what that means. So, but wait, stand by, which is very similar in many aspects to kind of what you believed, because it's all about yourself, following yourself, and yourself is the authority. But I don't anymore. And partially it had to do with this, with apologetics, learning the evidence for Christianity. Would you say you're still a Satanist?
No.
Why not?
Because the whole reason of that was like my personality type. I like the rebellion. I like the fact that it's a whole religion based on like the fact that you say like, yeah, I'm a Satanist. Everybody's gonna like automatically assume,
yeah.
you probably do this, you sacrifice ghosts. No, that's the whole point of the religion. It's kind of like an antagonizing religion in the sense that's like, I don't care if people like hear it and think what they think about it, but at the same time it's like, it's nothing like that. It's just using that form of Satan, because that's everything evil, to like bring that hatred towards us. And it tells you like to let everyone live how they live, do what they want to do.
So you're not a Satanist anymore, but you're religious. Parse that.
I'm religious. I would say Christianity comes first. I did die in my rebellion phase.
So Christianity comes first and you're religious. How does that work?
Somewhat.
So what do you mean by that?
I feel like it's more easier to be religious if you're going through something and you need something to turn to.
I see. So God is kind of like a get out of jail free card kind of thing?
Cause you know how people like they're straight up.
I went there.
Cause you see how some people like they'll straight up do exactly what the Bible tells them not to do, and then they'll ask for forgiveness. They'll ask for forgiveness from God instead, like right after they get done sinning, doing exactly what the Bible told them not to do. And that was kind of like my main thing, like why I kind of like I'm not oblivious to what be going on. Like I believe in a higher power 100%, but I don't know if that's God. That's Buddha, that's, what's his name?
Jesus,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I believe in all of it because you never know who's right and who's wrong, you know? Like, that's how my mother raised me, and just do your best to do what's right, and then you'll be up to heaven, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so are you really into the whole living your truth thing? Just do what's true for you and what's right for you?
Yeah.
What if something's actually objectively true? Then what?
In the form of like religion or like anywhere? Because I
Truth,
can tell you
objective
what this one
truth.
is too, and that's objectively true.
Okay, what about moral truth? Objective moral truth.
It's a social construct and subjective.
Okay, so is murder a social construct, to be wrong?
Yes.
What does that mean?
It means that murder is wrong. If you commit murder, you are going to be tried. You're going to have a jury. They're going to say like what you did was not right. We as people do not believe like you should be doing that. And the choices as a result of your actions is we could try you with the death penalty.
So is it always wrong to take a life, an innocent life? Always, no matter what, for all places and all times and all people, is that wrong?
No.
Okay, so if I were to go to another tribe or another place around the world and I kill an innocent child, that's not wrong?
That is 100% objectively morally wrong.
Okay, so moral objective standards do exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you said that, the first thing I think of is I go hunting. I'm killing innocent animals, but
Not animals, human life.
Human life?
Murder is different than hunting.
How so? What's different between us and animals?
A lot. Do you think that human beings have more value than an animal?
No.
That's sad. We should be treated equally, but do you think that we have more value than an animal? You don't think so?
Some people.
Are you more important than a dog?
I love my dog. I would not say yes to that answer.
Do you think I'm more important than your dog?
I know my dog longer. That's a hard question. I know my dog's loyal to the day I die.
Okay, so if your dog and a child let's say it's not even your dog. Let's just say a dog and your child were drowning in a pool, who would you jump in and save?
I would try to say both, and if I can't...
No, you can't save both. You cannot save both.
My child?
Not okay, let's take that. Your dog and your child, who's more important?
My child.
Okay, you didn't have long to think about that. Why is your child more important than the animal?
If my dog jumped in there, it was probably to save my child.
Do my best to do what's morally right so that at the end of the day I can go up to heaven.
Okay, but that's part of the problem. Have you read the Bible?
I've read parts of it. I haven't read the whole thing, no.
Okay, so part of the reason why this was an issue is Jesus came because there's a sin debt that we could not pay. It's impossible to do. And so if you've read any of the Old Testament, and you have a Muslim background, so I'm assuming you kind of read some of the Old Testament?
A little bit.
Okay. Well, the Old Testament law was given to the Israelites, and nobody could keep it. Here comes Jesus, and they prophesied that there's going to be a day where a Messiah is going to come, right? Does this sound familiar? Yeah. Do you know what Messiah means?
No, I don't know the meaning.
A Messiah is the Savior. So the Jewish people looked forward to the Messiah, the Savior, the King that would come to be the King forever and ever. The idea is that Jesus came to show us that there's no way we can earn our righteousness. It's impossible. So why do you think Jesus died on the cross? What is the idea that you get of when you hear the gospel? What do you think that means?
From what I've been taught, he died to save us from sins.
What does that mean, though? What is sin, and why did he have to die? Okay, just hypothetically, go with me. If truth exists and God exists, okay, and if those two things are real, we can objectively say, okay, there's a possibility that there's a truth out there about God.
So you know how we talk about sins and stuff, right? Yeah. So look, one of the biggest sins, right, that are in the Bible is you won't have sexual intercourse or anything like that until you're married. So I'm saying, so if that's the facts, right? Yeah. So why do you hear about people getting divorces over people cheating so much, all this, all that? Like, because it's human nature. That's what I'm saying. Like,
exactly, it's human nature. Exactly.
Look, I'm a sinner, but if Jesus could hang around thieves and prostitutes, I'm no better than him. I should be allowed to as well.
Why do you think he hung out with prostitutes and sinners?
Because it was fun, I guess.
No, it definitely was not fun for him. There was a very specific reason why he hung out with.
Why was it then? Educate me.
The reason why is because they're lost. He's saying, repent, go and sin no more. He's saying, believe in me, follow me, not them.
Did they listen?
Yes. Many, many did. And they found rest for their souls. That's the whole point. He says, come unto me. I will take your burden from you. And in John 3, he's talking about this. Have you heard of John 3:16? The gospel.
It's like the most basic thing that everybody posts everywhere along social media.
Yes. Okay, so what do you think that means? So that you won't perish but have everlasting life. If you keep reading, he actually says that people don't want to come to him. They like their darkness. They like their sin. And in John 3, he's saying you were born, but you must be born again.
How many Hail Marys would you have to do in order to be forgiven for each?
None.
In that sense. No?
You don't do no. Hail Marys don't forgive you. I am not Catholic. I do not believe that you have to do that.
That's fair. How old are you right now?
Me? I am 30 years old.
Okay, 30. Okay, about how many years ago did you first start asking these questions?
When I was 16.
When you were 16? Did you follow the religion all the way throughout 16?
That's whenever I had some overlap with New Age and New Thought and thinking it was actually Christianity when it was not.
What does that mean?
That means I did not know my Bible at all whatsoever, but talked like I did.
Like, you're always going to have questions, but sometimes you can't have it all answered, you know? And that's why I kind of took the route that I picked, because there's so many questions about any religion that you could ever think of. There's so many questions about it, but some of them just can't be answered. So why not just believe in not believe in everything, but just have faith that there is a higher power, you know? That's
really interesting, because that's very similar to what a lot of people in New Thought believe. That there's not one truth, that there's many paths and many ways to God.
Because Allah, he had prophets, and those prophets were believed to be all these other religions, you know?
Okay, so when Jesus says exclusively that he's the way, the truth, and the life, that nobody can get saved except through him, what do you think that means?
I mean, this is my first time hearing it, but in my ears, it seems like he might be the prophet to go to for that kind of thing.
Do you think Allah is ready to die for his people? What if somebody took your place for you?
Took my place for me? Explain.
What if you have a debt so big you cannot pay it?
Like a sin?
Let's take a financial debt. Let's say you owe $7 trillion. Let's say $14 trillion. You owe a debt you cannot pay.
To the government?
to anybody, right? To somebody that can make you a slave.
As long as you pay your debt to Allah.
You can't pay your debt. This is the difference, because Jesus says you're a slave to your sin. You can't get away from it. And that's the point. He comes to solve the problem that we can't solve. Everybody you're hearing are Christians, and I hope you stay. I hope you stay to hear the message. Check out my channel. If you guys, do you have a Bible at home?
No.
Quran.
Will you get one and read one?
Oh yeah, of course.
Great.
But like I said, the Quran has spoke very heavily to me. It makes sense to me.
It makes sense, but is it true?
I don't feel like I have the purpose of finding your, what purpose you're extruding right now. You found your purpose, and you're here for a reason.
You are here for a reason too, and you ran into me for a reason. I really hope that you guys read the Bible, and I hope you stick around, and I'm glad you came tonight. So I can't begin to tell you guys how much I enjoyed that conversation. There are things that I wish that I had followed up on and maybe said differently, such as, their claim to be a Christian, yet not really knowing what that means. And every time I go back and watch one of these, or any time that I know that I've had a conversation with someone, I cannot help but go back and think, wow, I wish I could have said that different, or said this, or followed up on that. But I've learned over the years that it's our job to talk, and it's God's job to convince. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that we could have kept talking, but for two reasons we had to stop. One, my camera was running out of room. And number two, it was getting loud. The event that we were at was a musical event. So I was really impressed with Leno's mic. That was Leno's mic. Thank you, Leno. So the mic did really good on just picking up our voices, but I had to edit out parts where we were just repeating one another, editing for flow. And for time's sake, there were just parts of the conversation that weren't followed up on that I didn't think were relevant to the overall topic matter that we were on at that point. But yeah, guys, I did not expect this at all. I did not expect to run into Leek and Andy in the manner in which we did. They had no idea that they were at a faith-based event. And I love that. I just love how God works. I love his providence. I love his sovereignty. And I'm hoping that they did stick around for the gospel message that was there and preached later. This will not be the last time you see one of these, as we filmed a lot more interviews, and we are going to be doing this again. Again, this is for a project that I'm doing. It's kind of in the moment research, if you will, and I kind of want to share that with you guys. This was a lot of fun, and it's really nice, by the way, to kind of get out and just talk with people. As long as I've been in ministry, I am still learning what it means to love others that I disagree with. And I think that it's a really humbling experience to go out and meet people, and it's quite awesome. And I don't look like it, guys, but I'm actually quite introverted. So I was wiped out after these interviews. Worth it. It was so worth it. I can't wait to be tired again. And just so everybody knows, there was no animosity at all this entire conversation. See, I always try my best to hold myself to a level of integrity, like a standard of integrity. I think that's the Christ-like thing to do. And I'll just be honest with you guys, sometimes I fail at that. My service to others and God demands that I hold myself accountable to that I hold myself to that standard as best as I can. And I mean, I have a comment section. I understand that people don't always agree with me, rolling up their sleeves, telling me what they think. I just want to make sure that I'm pleasing God. I try to feel people out on how direct I can be, or, what kind of follow-up question I should ask, or whatever the case may be, because I want people to think, but I also really want to understand their point of view. What is this? What does this mean? What are you doing here? What does this look like for you? So that I can know how to approach the conversation. Now, if you paid attention to how the conversation went, there are certain things that I really want you to notice and pay attention to. Their perspective, honestly, is not that unique. A lot of people in our culture have beliefs that maybe they haven't thought about too much. And I have to give credit to Greg Koukl, because he's written a lot about how to dialogue with people effectively. And Sean McDowell. There's a saying, seek first to understand, then be understood. And what I'm hoping is that in this dialogue, you'll see that my goal is not to just have a gotcha moment. It's to ask them thought-provoking questions on their position. And there's a few times where he had to backtrack. Andy, I'm speaking to him about Satanism and his position about dogs being more important than humans, and I understand where he's coming from. However, there's a contradiction, a logical contradiction with what he's saying. And what I'm trying to do is draw that out of him. I'm trying to get him to explain what he means and why he believes that. And the purpose in doing that, again, is not to put him on the spot or embarrass him or anything like that. It's to make him think about that position logically. I'm trying to establish if truth exists and if God exists, because if those two things are true, then I can segue into biblical truth. And I also kind of want to revisit and emphasize the fact that their position is not unique. A lot of people believe in very similar things. For example, subjective truth, subjective moral truth, and this idea of a higher power that exists, and as long as we believe in it, then we're fine. And I want to press those topics. I want to address those topics. Is that actually true? Because if it isn't, then there is a spiritual consequence for that. Truth is what corresponds to reality, and we should want to know what that is, morally as well as objectively. In showing them that there is a standard of moral truth, therefore equals truth exists. So when I asked about moral truth, the response was, oh, that's a social construct. The idea that that's murder is a social construct. So I wish I would have followed up more on that and kind of circled back to that specifically. But with the way the conversation went, I'm glad that, we were able to talk about objective moral truth. Many people in our society say that they're Christian, but we have to know what that means. There's a standard for what that means. I've made a lot of mediocre satires based on just that principle. In one of my favorite books, Faithfully Different by Natasha Crane, she talks about this, how many people identify as Christian but actually don't have biblical beliefs. It's fascinating and sad. So I was able to present a gospel message to these two men, and I hope that they have had a stone in their shoe. I hope that this conversation gave them something to think about, and I hope that it bothered them in a good way. They were absolutely delightful to talk to, very respectful, and very open to what I was saying. They were asking questions as I was asking questions. And even after we were done filming and the camera was off, one of the guys was like, "Thank you, this was awesome. I had a really good time talking with you." And it was just a really good, wholesome conversation. Andy, Leek, if you are watching this, thank you guys so much for talking with me. I really enjoyed it. You guys were gentlemen, you were kind, and it was a great conversation. If you are watching this and you would like to follow up with me, go ahead and send me an email. I would like to see how you're doing. I also want to thank my friend Lino, who helps me with the camera and with the microphone. Literally could not have done this without you. And I'm hoping that you guys learned a lot from this as well. So stay tuned for more videos like this. I have no idea when they'll be done, but they will be eventually. But let me know what you think of this. What are your thoughts? Do you have any questions? Anything that you think you might want to add to what I've already said, or maybe your thoughts on this whole conversation? Questions for me about this conversation? Let me know in the comments below.